Guardian Angels. I am so happy anytime I see them around. And I don't say that loosely. I say that because that's how I feel. It comes straight from the heart. And I'm looking at our two very prestigious guests today, Miguel Fuentes and Franklin Harris. And I'm looking at the logo on the shirt. The logo is just so familiar when you see that eye and the pyramid. And I want you to explain the concept behind the logo. But what really kind of jumps out at me, aside from the logo itself, because it does get your attention, you have in bold print, Safety Patrol. Tell us what the logo in layman's terms means.
Well, the Safety Patrol signifies that you're an official member, because some members are training.
Oh.
So some members won't have
that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. The wings represents us looking over the people. The clouds represents the people that we're looking over. The shield represents strength, and the eye represents everybody. It's not male, female, young or old, black and white. And that's what the logo represents.
All right. I want to remind our listeners of our telephone connection, because the phone lines are really getting a little bit congested. I'm coming to the phones in just a second, but I want to plant the seed. Again, today marks the 32nd anniversary of the founding of the Guardian Angels, and it started in New York City. But, gentlemen, I want to put to you collectively a question that I put to Miguel individually the last time we talked, which was a few days ago. You don't have any weapons, and I know that in cases when you apprehend suspects or people that are actually committing crimes, you do handcuff them, if I'm not mistaken, but without any weapons, do you ever have any type of apprehension saying, I've got to go intervene? Do weapons or the lack of them ever enter into your mind, Franklin?
I've never hesitated. It always goes back to the training that we do and the situations, whether it be a gun, whether it be a knife, whether it be a baseball bat, tire iron, or what have you. We train for those situations. And during that time, it's not, I don't want to say you don't think, you just more react to the training. So you're thinking about the training, but not thinking about it. You just do it.
And if you have any second thoughts, if you hesitate, you could get hurt.
Exactly. And, you know, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to have anybody hurt on patrol or in the public.
591 V-103. Miguel, I want to put another thing on the table before we go to the phones, and I really appreciate you guys coming down. And everybody on hold. Hold on, I promise I'll be there in just a second. But I want to soak in as much knowledge as I can, because I really admire this particular organization and the people in it. Miguel, tell me about the relationship that the Angels have with the Chicago Police Department. And if we have police officers out there listening, I want you to call in and tell me your relationship and what your thoughts are concerning the Guardian Angels. Do they help you? From my vantage point, they seem to be a definite asset. So police officers, if you're listening, call me, 591 V-103. But back to Miguel, is there an official bond or sanction or united front between police and the Guardian Angels?
Officially, no. We've been in Chicago since 1981, but over the years, each superintendent has either talked bad about the Guardian Angels or just refused to speak on the concept and the organization itself. So
why would they talk bad about you?
Well, that's something you probably have to ask them. That's something you have to ask them. But for the men and women who we deal with on the street, whether it's on the trains or on the platforms or on the streets when we do have street patrols, for the most part, they appreciate our work, we appreciate them, and we rarely come into any conflict with any police officers out on the field.
This past week, we saw major newspaper articles with your photo and reporters making references to an incident that happened on the Red Line where you apprehended at least a couple of suspects. Walk us through step by step. Tell us what happened, and then we're going to go straight to the phones.
Okay, we're heading north Tuesday morning about 1:30 a.m. on the 8th of February, north on the Red Line, coming from 69th Street. When we got to downtown, a group of individuals, 3 males, boarded the train. They began walking through the train cars, pretty much scoping, eyeballing out the passengers. They walked right by me. One of the other members noticed them, walked behind them. I was in the second car in an 8-car train. They walked to the first car. I sent the other angel to hang out with them in the first car. Obviously, they didn't like what they seen in the first car. They came into the second car where I was station. I had another member at this time go back into the third car. So we had a member, the first car, second car, which was myself, the third car. Individuals come into the second car. They noticed two passengers videotaping each other with a camera doing a school project. They pretty much made themselves comfortable around Clark and Division, sat down. One of them had a mask on, pretended to be asleep. When the train approached Belmont and the doors closed, the next stop would be Addison. As the train was approaching Addison,
Up by Wrigley Field.
exactly,
Okay.
they got up and they just looked at the guys and he said, "Give me that," and he grabbed the camera from the guy. And I looked at him and the guy goes, "Hey," and I looked at the guy and I go, "Did he just take your camera?" And he goes, "Yeah." They just grabbed the camera. They walked to the train doors as the train's approaching Addison, like if they were about to get off and nothing ever happened. I asked the guys, "Who's got the camera?" One of the guys opened up his hand. I seen the camera. I snatched the camera from him. I put it in my pocket. He swings at me. I knew within a matter of seconds the door was going to open. Once the door was open, there was going to be a chase. So I was trying to avoid a chase. So what I did is I grabbed the guy and I threw him to the other side of the doors where they don't open. His partner at that time swung at me, hit me in the jaw, because obviously I'm grabbing one guy with both hands. So I got hit in the jaw. At this time, the doors open. The third guy did not commit any crime, did not attack me, did not try to swing at me. So when the doors opened, he walked out. So as guardian angels, we can't just detain anybody just because they're rolling. If they don't commit a crime, we can't do anything about it. We're not the police. So I had to let him go. But now the second guy who attacked me and hit me in the jaw, I grabbed him and I threw him between the two doors that we were at and the door to go into the first car. So the other guy comes after me. They both start attacking me. I flip one of the guys. I start wrestling with one of the other guys. The other guardian angel in the first car notices that, comes in, helps me apprehend both individuals. First one, we place them in handcuffs. The other member comes flying from the third car and helps us detain the second individual. We place them in handcuffs. The conductor comes in, asks us what happened. We explain to them the passengers got robbed. We have the suspects. They call control. Control notifies the conductor. Asks the guardian angels if they would hold the men on the platform in Addison so that we don't interrupt the service on the CTA. So we did that. Ticket agent comes upstairs, asks us if we would go downstairs and wait for the police. We escorted both men and both of the victims down to the street level at Addison. The police came. We notified the police, explained to them what happened. When the police were searching one of the individuals, they pulled 3 cell phones out of his possession.
What does it take to be a member of the Guardian Angels? What are the requirements?
You have to be 16 years of age or older, no serious felony background, working or going to school or actively looking for employment. You set up an appointment with us, you fill out an application, we go through a background check. If you pass those things, then you begin 3 months of training, which consists of going out twice a week for patrols. Each patrol is 4 hours long. You pick the days. We patrol Monday through Saturday, starting at 7 p.m., sometimes until 4 in the morning. You pick the days and times which best are convenient for you, and attend self-defense training once a week for about an hour and a half. Now, after those 3 months, you become a guardian angel, and that's how the safety patrol comes in play. But you're still required to come down to patrol, and you're still required to train.
Franklin, anything to add before we go to the phones? As you see, we've got a full bank.
No, I'm looking forward to answering questions from the public.
If you have questions, if you have comments, we have 2 outstanding members of the Guardian Angels, Michael Fuentes and Franklin Harris, and you just heard, I'm sorry, I said Mike, Miguel Fuentes. You just heard Miguel describe just kind of a day in the life of the Guardian Angels. They apprehend people as part of what they do. I mean, the situation on the red line, from my vantage point, wasn't unusual, was it? I mean, this is what you guys do.
Exactly what we do. And, I've been in the group also 22 years, and, it's not so much like an ordinary day, but this is just typical of what we come across on the CTA when we're out on patrol.
How can people find out more information? Website, phone number?
Well, the Chicago phone number is area code 312-217-7245. And you can also go to our official website, which is guardianangels.org.
Right now, let's go to our phones at 591 V-103.